The 2024 presidential election saw the return of Donald J. Trump to the White House, marking a resurgence of his signature hardline stance on immigration. Trump's victory, propelled in part by a surge in support from minority communities concerned about crime and security, has reignited a long-simmering national debate. Central to this debate is the issue of undocumented immigrants and their impact on American society, a topic that has sharply divided the nation along political lines. Trump's return has signaled a renewed focus on border security and interior enforcement, with a particular emphasis on targeting individuals deemed to pose a threat to public safety. The first weeks of Trump's second term have been marked by a flurry of executive actions aimed at fulfilling his campaign promises on immigration. These actions include directives to increase the number of immigration and customs enforcement agents, expand the categories of deportable offenses, and limit access to asylum for those seeking refuge in the United States. This renewed crackdown has sent shockwaves through immigrant communities across the country as families live in fear of separation and individuals with even minor infractions face the prospect of deportation. The debate rages on, with supporters of Trump's policies arguing that they are necessary to restore law and order, while critics contend that they are inhumane and discriminatory. The issue of immigration is deeply intertwined with questions of national identity, economic security, and social justice. Trump's policies, framed within a narrative of American sovereignty and the rule of law, have resonated with a segment of the population that feels increasingly alienated from the political establishment and threatened by demographic changes. On the other side of the divide, a diverse coalition of immigrant rights advocates, civil liberties groups, and faith-based organizations has mobilized in opposition to what they see as a cruel and counterproductive approach to immigration. As the nation grapples with these complex issues, the stakes could not be higher for millions of immigrants who call America home and the future of American society itself. Across the nation, a wave of fear and uncertainty has swept through immigrant enclaves as news spreads of intensified ICE raids. These operations, often conducted in the pre-dawn hours, have become a stark symbol of the Trump administration's commitment to swift and decisive action on illegal immigration. Images of ICE agents, clad in tactical gear, descending upon homes and workplaces have become a fixture in news reports, fueling anxiety and prompting many to retreat further into the shadows. The raids, school, and many are afraid to leave their homes for fear of encountering ICE agents. This climate of fear has had a chilling effect on daily life, eroding trust in law enforcement and making it more difficult for immigrants to access essential services such as healthcare and education. The raids have also sparked a wave of activism and legal challenges as communities mobilize to protect their own and hold the government accountable for what they see as an overreach of authority. The stories emerging from these raids are often heartbreaking, painting a picture of families torn apart and lives upended. There are accounts of parents being detained while their children are at school, leaving them in the care of relatives or, in some cases, the foster care system. There are stories of breadwinners being deported, leaving families struggling to make ends meet. And there are stories of individuals who have lived in the United States for years, building lives and contributing to their communities, being uprooted and sent back to countries they barely remember. These stories highlight the human cost of the Trump administration's immigration policies, a cost that is often lost in the heated political rhetoric surrounding the issue. A cornerstone of the Trump administration's immigration strategy has been its unwavering focus on targeting criminal elements within the undocumented population. The administration argues that by prioritizing the apprehension and deportation of individuals with criminal records, it is making American communities safer and upholding the rule of law. To this end, ICE has been directed to prioritize the removal of individuals convicted of serious offenses, including violent crimes, drug trafficking, and gang activity. This focus on criminality has been accompanied by a significant expansion of the categories of offenses that can lead to deportation. including even minor offenses, such as traffic violations and misdemeanors. The administration points to statistics indicating that a disproportionate number of crimes are committed by undocumented immigrants, arguing that this justifies its aggressive enforcement approach. They argue that sanctuary cities, which limit their cooperation with federal immigration authorities, have become havens for criminals, and that their policies endanger public safety. Furthermore, the administration contends that by cracking down on illegal immigration, it is deterring future illegal crossings and incentivizing individuals to immigrate through legal channels. This zero-tolerance approach has been met with mixed reactions, with supporters praising the administration for taking a tough stance on crime, and critics accusing it of scapegoating immigrants and creating a climate of fear. The administration's focus on criminality has raised concerns about racial profiling and due process. Critics argue that the broad categories of deportable offenses and the increased discretion given to ICE agents have led to the detention and deportation of individuals who pose no threat to public safety. They point to cases of individuals with minor offenses, or even no criminal record at all, being swept up in raids and deported without due process. There are also concerns that the focus on criminality is being used to justify the separation of families, as even parents with minor offenses can be deported, leaving their US-born children in legal limbo. The debate over the administration's focus on criminality within the immigrant population is likely to continue, with far-reaching implications for the rights and well-being of millions of immigrants and the future of American society. The recent wave of ICE raids has not spared the Jamaican community, ensnaring individuals with varying degrees of connection to alleged criminal activity. One such case involves Camaro Denver Hay, a Jamaican national residing in New York City, who was recently apprehended on charges related to the possession and promotion of child pornography. Hay, who had a prior arrest by the NYPD in late 2024, now faces serious legal consequences that could result in his deportation. His case has sent shockwaves through the Jamaican community, highlighting the vulnerability of immigrants, even those with deep roots in the United States, to the Trump administration's crackdown on criminal aliens. Another case involves a Jamaican resident in Florida who was arrested for possession of oxycodone and other charges. While the details of this case remain unclear, it underscores the administration's broad approach to targeting criminality within the immigrant community, even when it comes to non-violent drug offenses. These cases have caused anxiety and fear within the Jamaican community, as individuals with even minor brushes with the law fear that they could be targeted for deportation. Community leaders and advocacy groups have been working to educate Jamaican immigrants about their rights and provide legal assistance to those facing deportation proceedings. The impact of these raids on the Jamaican community extends beyond the individuals directly affected. Many Jamaican immigrants, both documented and undocumented, express a sense of unease and uncertainty about their future in the United States. Some have reported increased incidents of discrimination and harassment, fueled by the anti-immigrant rhetoric that has gained traction in recent years. The raids have also strained relations between law enforcement and the Jamaican community, as some feel that they are being unfairly targeted and profiled. Despite these challenges, the Jamaican community has shown resilience in the face of adversity, drawing on its strong cultural identity and community ties to support those affected by the raids, and advocate for more just and humane immigration policies. Section 5. A Voice from the Bronx, Evelyn Brown and the Divided Perspectives Within Immigrant Enclaves. The issue of immigration has sparked a range of responses within immigrant communities themselves, with perspectives often diverging along generational lines, experiences with law enforcement, and levels of integration into American society. One such example is Evelyn Brown, an 80-year-old resident of the Bronx, originally from Jamaica, who has emerged as a vocal supporter of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Brown, who has lived in the United States for over 5 decades, expresses a deep sense of frustration with what she perceives as a decline in law and order in her community, attributing this decline in part to the presence of undocumented immigrants. She believes that the ICE raids are necessary to restore safety and security to her neighborhood. Brown's perspective, while not universally shared, reflects a sentiment held by a segment of the immigrant community that prioritizes law and order, and believes that undocumented immigrants are a drain on resources and a threat to public safety. This perspective is often shaped by personal experiences with crime, economic hardship, and a perceived lack of assimilation among some immigrant groups. Brown, like many of her generation, came to the United States legally and worked hard to achieve the American dream. She believes that undocumented immigrants should be required to follow the same legal path to citizenship, rather than being rewarded for breaking the law. However, Brown's views are not representative of the entire Jamaican community, nor are they reflective of the broader immigrant rights movement. Many Jamaican immigrants, particularly those who arrived more recently or who have family members who are undocumented, express empathy and solidarity with those targeted by the raids. They argue that the vast majority of immigrants, regardless of their legal status, are hard-working individuals seeking a better life for themselves and their families. They point to the contributions that immigrants make to the economy, culture, and social fabric of the United States, arguing that deporting them would be morally wrong and economically detrimental. The debate over immigration within immigrant communities is a microcosm of the broader national conversation, reflecting the complexities of this issue and the challenges of finding common ground in a deeply divided society. Section 6. Beyond the Headlines. Statistical Snapshot of Immigration in the United States. To fully grasp the complexities of the immigration debate, it is crucial to examine the statistical realities of immigration in the United States, moving beyond the often charged rhetoric and emotional appeals that dominate the discourse. According to recent data, the United States is home to over 47 million foreign-born individuals, representing approximately 14% of the total population. This diverse immigrant population hails from all corners of the globe, enriching the nation's cultural tapestry and contributing significantly to its economic vitality. Contrary to the narrative often perpetuated by anti-immigrant voices, the vast majority of immigrants, approximately 77%, reside in the country legally, having obtained permanent residency or citizenship through established channels. This legal immigrant population comprises a wide range of individuals, from highly skilled professionals and entrepreneurs to refugees fleeing persecution and family members reuniting with loved ones. They contribute to the U.S. economy in myriad ways, filling labor shortages, starting businesses, paying taxes, and boosting innovation. The remaining 23% of the foreign-born population, approximately 11 million individuals, are considered unauthorized immigrants. This group, often demonized and scapegoated in the immigration debate, is far more diverse and nuanced than commonly portrayed. While some may have entered the country illegally, others overstayed their visas or had their legal status revoked due to changes in immigration law. It is important to note that unauthorized immigrants are not a monolithic group. They come from diverse backgrounds, have varying levels of education and skills, and hold a range of views on immigration policy. Many have established deep roots in the United States, raising families, contributing to their communities, and paying taxes, despite living with the constant fear of deportation. The statistical reality of immigration in the United States paints a complex and multifaceted picture, challenging simplistic narratives and highlighting the need for comprehensive and humane immigration reform that addresses the needs of both legal and unauthorized immigrants while upholding the rule of law and protecting national security. Section 7. The Legal Battlefield. Trump's Policy Changes and the Fight for Due Process. The Trump administration's aggressive approach to immigration enforcement has not gone unchallenged, sparking a wave of lawsuits and legal challenges from civil liberties groups, immigrant rights organizations, and state attorneys general. At the heart of this legal battle is the question of due process, a fundamental principle enshrined in the U.S. Constitution that guarantees all individuals, regardless of their immigration status, certain basic rights when facing government action. One of the most contentious policy changes has been the expansion of expedited removal, a fast-track deportation process that bypasses traditional immigration courts and limits judicial review. This process, previously used primarily for individuals apprehended near the border, has been expanded under the Trump administration to apply to a wider range of undocumented immigrants, including those who have been living in the United States for years and have established ties to the country. Critics argue that expedited removal denies individuals due process by limiting their ability to present their case before a judge, obtain legal representation, and appeal deportation orders. They contend that this process is prone to error and abuse, as individuals may be wrongfully deported without adequate opportunity to prove their claims to legal status or present evidence of their ties to the United States. Furthermore, the expansion of expedited removal has raised concerns about racial profiling and discrimination, as critics argue that it disproportionately targets immigrants of color. The Trump administration, however, defends its use of expedited removal as a necessary tool for enforcing immigration law and deterring illegal immigration. Another area of legal contention is the administration's efforts to restrict access to asylum, a legal pathway for individuals fleeing persecution in their home countries. The Trump administration has implemented a number of policies aimed at limiting asylum eligibility, including narrowing the definition of credible fear of persecution, requiring asylum seekers to wait in Mexico while their cases are processed, and limiting the number of asylum applications processed each day. These policies have been challenged in court, with critics arguing that they violate U.S. asylum law and international treaty obligations. The legal battles over Trump's immigration policies are likely to continue for years to come, with far-reaching implications for the rights of immigrants and the future of immigration law in the United States. Section 8. Ripple Effects: The broader impact on integration, trust, and the American dream. Beyond the immediate impact on individuals facing deportation and their families, the Trump administration's immigration crackdown has had broader ripple effects on immigrant communities and American society as a whole. One of the most significant consequences has been the erosion of trust between immigrant communities and law enforcement agencies. The fear of deportation, coupled with the perception that law enforcement is collaborating with ICE, has made many immigrants reluctant to report crimes, cooperate with police investigations, or even access essential services such as healthcare and education. This chilling effect on cooperation undermines public safety and hinders efforts to build strong and cohesive communities. Moreover, the crackdown has created a climate of fear and uncertainty that has permeated all aspects of life for immigrants, regardless of their legal status. Many live in a constant state of anxiety, fearing that any interaction with law enforcement, even a routine traffic stop, could lead to detention and deportation. This fear has led some to withdraw from civic life, avoid public spaces, and limit their interactions with government agencies, hindering their ability to fully integrate into American society. The crackdown has also had a negative impact on the economy, particularly in sectors that rely heavily on immigrant labor, such as agriculture, construction, and hospitality. The Trump administration's immigration policies have also fueled a broader debate about the meaning of the American dream and the values that define the nation. Critics argue that the crackdown is antithetical to the nation's history as a land of immigrants, and that it undermines the values of diversity, inclusion, and opportunity that have long been central to the American identity. They contend that the policies are driven by xenophobia and nativism, rather than a genuine concern for national security or economic well-being. The debate over immigration is likely to continue to shape the nation's political landscape and social fabric for years to come, raising fundamental questions about who belongs in America and what it means to be American. Section 9. An Uncertain Future: Navigating the Complexities of Immigration in a Divided America. As the United States grapples with the multifaceted challenges of immigration in the 21st century, the path forward remains uncertain. The Trump administration's hardline approach, while appealing to a segment of the population concerned about border security and national sovereignty, has deepened divisions within American society and created a climate of fear and uncertainty for millions of immigrants. The administration's focus on enforcement-only measures, coupled with its efforts to restrict legal pathways to immigration, has failed to address the root causes of undocumented immigration or provide a long-term solution to the nation's broken immigration system. Moving forward, it is imperative that policymakers engage in a more nuanced and comprehensive dialogue on immigration, one that recognizes both the challenges and the contributions of immigrants. This dialogue must move beyond the polarizing rhetoric and simplistic solutions that have dominated the debate, acknowledging the complexities of the issue and the need for a balanced and humane approach. Any viable solution must address the root causes of migration, such as poverty, violence, and lack of opportunity in sending countries, while also providing a pathway to legalization for undocumented immigrants who are already integrated into American society. Furthermore, there is a need for comprehensive immigration reform that modernizes the nation's outdated immigration system, making it more responsive to the needs of the 21st century economy and society. Such reform should include measures to streamline the legal immigration process, reduce backlogs, and provide greater opportunities for family reunification. It should also address the needs of dreamers, undocumented immigrants who were brought to the United States as children, by providing them with a pathway to citizenship and the opportunity to contribute their talents and skills to the nation that they call home. The future of immigration in the United States hinges on the nation's ability to find common ground, embrace its history as a nation of immigrants, and forge a path forward that is both pragmatic and compassionate.